Why do you keep forgetting to pay your bills, and why do you spend more when you're stressed? I'm Dr. Christine Hargrove, certified financial therapist specializing in ADHD, and today I'll be answering the internet's biggest questions about ADHD and money. Why does ADHD make it so hard to manage money? There's really two pieces to this. The first is ADHD makes it harder to manage your time. And when that relates to money, it means it's harder to know what bills are coming up, when your income is coming in, and making sure you know what day it is right now. It also means that you likely have a lot of shame around your money. So what we then have is this emotionally driven shame cycle where we avoid dealing with our money, which leads to more shame and more avoidance. And now we have the perfect storm of ADHD and money. Why do I keep forgetting to pay my bills, and how do I stop? You keep forgetting to pay your bills because you have ADHD. It's actually pretty normal if you have ADHD because it's really hard to sense the passage of time. How do I stop? The first way, and probably the easiest way, is to put stuff on auto pay. You just got to make sure you don't overdraft. I like to have bills be due on the same day. And in case you didn't know, you can call the companies, like the credit card companies, and change your due date. I like to choose the 17th because it's a prime number and I seem to remember it. And then I don't have to worry about the passage of time because I just think about, is it almost the 17th or is it past the 17th? Another great way can be to use your apps, use your reminders, and especially if you can have like a monthly meeting with a bill paying buddy for like 10 minutes. You just hop on the phone, you're both on your computers, make sure and set up all your bills, and then be like, all right, I will talk to you next month. Why do I spend more when I'm bored, stressed, or upset? So if you have ADHD, boredom hits your brain like pain. So spending can give you a dopamine hit, and it can help relieve your boredom. It can help you feel less stressed temporarily, because then you do actually have to pay for the things that you bought, and that can lead to a cycle of shame and frustration. So spending can temporarily increase your happiness. It can lead to pleasure. It can be really fun, but it can also lead to stress in the long run because you've got to pay for those impulsive purchases. What is the ADHD tax? The ADHD tax is the price you pay for having ADHD. It's the financial side of the ADHD symptoms. So it's things like not being able to return something within the return window, or late fees for late payments or missed payments. Sometimes it's really big things like triple booking a hotel room or missing your flight and having to rebook. It's really frustrating to pay the ADHD tax over and over again, but it doesn't have to be. I think one of the benefits of understanding the ADHD tax is you can start to plan for it. So, for example, if returning things to the store is difficult for you, only go to stores where it's easy to return. Or if you're going to buy something online, make sure that the return process is easy. When you plan on there being an ADHD tax, you can make sure that you commit to things that you can do. How do I deal with the shame I feel about my ADHD finances? Oh man, if this is you, you are not alone. I think one of the best ways to deal with money shame is to talk about it with friends, talk about it with family. You would be amazed at how many people will be supportive, and they might even share some of their own feelings, connect with you about it. You feel a lot less alone. If you're really struggling though, you can find a financial therapist. So that's specifically if you are struggling with this like overwhelming sense of shame, and especially if you're spiraling or if you're really struggling to get a grip, a financial therapist can be a wonderful person to talk to. If it's more about like the objective numbers, call up a financial coach, a financial counselor. If you're worried about the long-term things, there's financial planners. The important thing is that you talk to someone. I like to say sunshine is a great disinfectant, and it definitely disinfects shame. So when you bring it out into the open, that's when you can deal with it. By the way, what's the most frustrating ADHD tax you've ever had to pay? Let me know in the comments. How do I curb impulsive spending? So, the first way that you can curb impulsive spending, and there's research to support this, is to have mental shortcuts for decision making about your money already in place. So, for example, if it's over a certain amount, I will wait 24 hours or I will phone a friend. Make sure that that friend is somebody who is a little more level headed than you when it comes to spending money. The second thing is, recognize when you have an emotionally driven spending pattern. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll catch on that there's a pattern that I always tend to spend money when I am having a certain emotion. Maybe it's a desire for connection. Maybe it is to relieve the pain of a really rough day. If you can catch on to that pattern, you can also outwit it. Is saving money harder for people with ADHD? Yes. And there's a few reasons for this. First, we tend to see lower incomes across the board for people with ADHD. Second, you tend to have higher costs. So, for example, research shows that ADHD individuals have significantly higher medical costs, whether or not you have insurance. And third, ADHD makes it harder to actually manage your money, to get your bills paid on time, to make sure that you're living within your means. And when that stuff is difficult, it's really hard, if not impossible, to be putting money away for the future. How do I make an ADHD-friendly budget I'll actually stick to? An ADHD-friendly budget is one that you're going to stick to on your worst day, not your best day. Really, for anyone, there's got to be a level of flexibility built in because life happens. And if you have ADHD, life definitely happens. You're going to have the ADHD tax. You're going to have things that go slightly wrong. And that's okay. That's part of it. Your money is supposed to work for you. Your budgeting system needs to work for you. I think a great way to get started is to use an app or a system that tracks what you actually spend and start from there. So don't start from an aspirational budget of what you think you should do. Just look at the numbers and learn what's actually happening. And then you can start to adjust the numbers bit by bit. What budgeting apps or systems actually work for ADHD brains? Well, there's a lot of good ones out there. The question is, which one is going to work the best for you? So I came up with a framework for thinking through if an app or system is going to work really well for you, and it is Saver, S-A-V-E-R. S is for streamlined. So how streamlined is this app? Is it going to be easy to use? A is for accessible, and that's like, do I have the information that I need when I need it? Is it available in my phone, in my pocket to pull out when I'm at the store and see how much money is in my account? V stands for visual, so graphs, charts, timelines. Those are really, really helpful. E is for engaging, so gamification works really well for individuals with ADHD, and there's research there. And R is realistic. Is this app something that's realistic for me to use? Is it too complicated or frustrating to use? Because the best app that you're going to use is something you'll actually use. Can ADHD medication help you get better at managing money? The research so far is somewhat inconclusive. We haven't found a link between taking medication and overall better financial well-being. But I would say in my own clinical practice, I do see a connection between medication and financial behavior and management. So for example, I think a lot of times the impulsive spending tends to happen when the meds have worn off, like in the evenings, or if you tend to take weekends off, that's often when the impulsive spending happens. Also, that's when we tend to do our money management. That's when we talk to our partner about our money when the meds have worn off. It doesn't work out very well. So if you want to make better use of your medicated brain, make sure that you are paying your bills, looking at your money, talking about money with your partner when your meds are active. How do I get out of debt when I have ADHD? I think the first step to getting out of debt when you have ADHD is believing that it's possible. And not just that it's possible, but it's possible for you. Having hope, having something to hold on to when the emotions start feeling overwhelming is essential because getting out of debt is not something that can happen overnight. The second part is knowing what debt you have. I have a lot of ADHD clients who aren't sure where to begin, and I think a great way to start is to just run your credit report. You can learn what debts you have, exactly how much, and then you can get started with repayment. What's important is that you turn that hyperfocus onto your debt. Turn this into a project. Make graphs, make charts, figure out when it's going to be done, choose what approach to debt payoff you want to do, map it out, and then track your progress over time. And it's important to celebrate all of these little milestones, right? Like cheer yourself on. And when you finally get to the finish line and your debt is paid off, it's an amazing feeling. How can couples manage money when one or both partners have ADHD? So my advice is really the same whether it's one partner or both who have ADHD. It's really important that both partners be invested in the money management of your relationship. So what that means is both of you need to know your numbers, you need to know what's going on, and both of you need to participate in decision making. Now, it's fine if you do it 50-50. It's fine if one person sort of takes the lead, but it doesn't work if one person just kind of checks out. So you both need to be involved in the money management. The second part is it's much easier to be involved in the money management if you are using an app or a financial system where you both can log in. It's really important that you're looking at the same numbers when you are talking about money. You would be amazed at how many couple arguments happen because the partners are actually looking at completely different numbers and then trying to talk about money. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, we actually have a lot more content like this on our channel, so make sure to subscribe. By doing so, you can help to further Understood's mission, which is to make sure that the 70 million people with learning and thinking differences like ADHD and dyslexia can thrive.